All right, good evening, senior and YouTube fans. This is Philip Reynolds, and I have a first. I have a question of what to do because I was playing my 77 LA and uh, 77 New York with Pele in that, and I want to show you this because I came upon this while I was playing the game, uh, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? All right. First of all, I'm going to count triangles here for New York. You've got one, two, three, four. You have four. Okay, four isn't bad. That just means you need five or higher, five or six. Now, here comes the problem, and I want to show this to you. And somebody tell me what the answer is. What's wrong here? All right, let's go to LA. We've got one, two, three, four, and look at George Best. He's got one, two, three triangles on his own. I don't know about you, but that's seven. So the first check here for an attack, it says roll all three dice, make green die change. That's no problem. If black die is equal to or less than the number of triangles on attacking team and white die is greater than the number of squares on the defending team, then attack result is an on-target shot. Now, what's the problem there? The problem is you're using a six-sided dice, and LA has seven triangles. You're never going to get equal to or less than on a six. You know, you can't get. So what is the what are we supposed to do there in that instance? Because LA has seven, and that's going to always be higher than six. Um, so automatically going to be automatically considered a defended attack. The only other thing I see is the fact that um, you know, luckily you're not using all the guys because uh, luckily you're not using all the guys. Usually you're just using two, but even so, that's seven. So if you were to do it the way I just did, it's like, well, how's that possible? Because you got seven, and it says equal to or less than. I guess then you would just make it. If you would, the only way you could win on that particular would be on getting a six. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Um, and I'm going to pause here for a second because I want to show you what happened on my last game. All right. Well, I did play a game offline between LA and New York. And in the first minute, uh, Morals, the number 5 guy for New York, uh, got a goal. And then um, your next goal wasn't until the 40th minute on LA. That was an on target, and it was uh, had to be a spectacular save, and that was Mancini, and he was also in the 5 slot. And then on a corner kick uh, for New York in the 70th minute, Beckenbauer got a uh, got a goal to go ahead and make the final 2-1, and that was pretty much it. Uh, New York did have two people injured, and LA did bring in a sub. I don't think the sub was toward till the uh, yeah, and the reason why you had to bring in you had one injury and the other one was for New York is that David was shown 2 yellow cards, and so they had to bring him out, and that was in the 48th minute. Um, so yeah, but it was 2-1 in favor of uh, New York. New York beat LA 2-1, and the thing is Pele didn't figure into the equation at all. I figured Pele would get maybe a goal or two or something like that, but he didn't um, factor into things at all. But when I was looking at the triangles for LA, I noticed that there's 7, and I mean, like I said, dice don't have 7 dots on them. They only go up to 6. So my guess is if they would have to have a 6 in order to win be on attack. Uh, yeah, they would have to get a 6 is my guess. Uh, but that's the first time when I added them up that you actually had 7 triangles. It's like, okay, well, how do you handle this then? Because you haven't even gotten to the point where you're adding up the stars to figure out if it's going to be a you know, on target thing. I mean, after that's what you do after you figure out whether you're on target is add up the stars. You haven't done that yet. You haven't figured out who's which positions. This is before you even do that. This is just counting up the triangles, and LA has an unfair advantage of 7. What does that mean? They lose every time. If somebody has an idea as to the answer, I'm just assuming that in LA's case there, that they have to have a 6 to be on target, and then they're on the defensive side. The white dice has to be higher than whatever squares. So if New York had 3 squares, it would have to be 4 or higher. But with them having 7 triangles, they have to have a 6 on the black dice for an attack, and then they would have to beat the whatever the white die is, whether that's if they had 3 squares, it would be 4 or higher type thing. It's my guess. If anybody has any different opinion, please let me know, especially like Steve Tower or the guys that kind of play this on a regular instance. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's something that I noticed when I played it tonight that I was counting up the triangles and like, oh, wait a minute, LA has 7. So, and it got me to the thinking, well, what are you supposed to do then? Because seven's, like I said, higher than any any number you'll get on a six-sided dice. So my guess is that they have to have, in that instance, you have to have a 6, and then you have to have beat whatever square count is on that white die. So if you got 3 squares for the defense, you have to have 4, 5, or 6 in order to win. Well, just throwing something out to you. I will be. I did say I have games 5 and 6, and I'm going to swap LA to the home team in New York to the visiting team, and then I'll play. But I still have 2 more of these that I want to do online before I actually begin an FC Cincinnati replay, so I can get the adding of the stars together and um, you know doing the on target uh, type of check to see if when they roll, do they beat that on target type thing. So, but that's all I had for you. Something I noticed when I was playing Soccer Blast tonight. Anybody got any answers for me? Just give me a shout out. Put something in the comments. But I think the answer to it is because there's 7. That means that in order to win and be on target, the black die has to be 6. Nothing else makes sense because you can't just say, "Oh, well, they got 7. Well, that means that they automatically fail." That's not fair to that particular team. So they would have to have a 6 in that instance. So that's all I have for you. Take care and have a good week, people.